The United States continues to stress the importance of reaching a ceasefire deal between Israel and Hamas following the assassination of the militant group's political leader Ismail Haniyeh in Tehran, Iran, earlier Wednesday. It also follows a confirmed Israel strike that killed a senior Hezbollah commander in Lebanon's capital, Beirut, late on Tuesday, amid fear of a wider war in the Middle East. A spokesperson for the United Nations Secretary General has urged the parties to exercise maximum restraint and called on all to avoid any further escalation. This was the reaction from senior U.S. officials following the two strikes.
I don't think war is inevitable. I maintain that. I think there's always room and opportunities for diplomacy, and I'd like to see parties pursue those opportunities. And certainly what we've seen along the border, the northern border with Israel, over time, that's been a concern of ours. Again, we're going to do everything we can to make sure that we keep things from turning into a broader conflict throughout the region. If Israel is attacked, we certainly will help defend Israel. You saw us do that in April. You can expect to see us do that again. But we don't want to see any of that happen. We're going to work hard to make sure that we're doing things to help take the temperature down and address issues through diplomatic means.
Well, of course, I've seen the reports, and all I can tell you right now is I think nothing takes away from the importance of, as I said a moment ago, getting to the ceasefire, which is manifestly in the interests of the hostages and bringing them home. It's manifestly in the interests of Palestinians who are suffering terribly every single day, children, women, men in Gaza who've been caught in this crossfire of Hamas's making. It's profoundly in the interest of trying to put things on a better path, not only in Gaza, but actually throughout the region, because so much is tied to what's happening in Gaza right now.
All right, for more, we now speak to our U.S.-based correspondent, Sherwin Bryce-Pease, who joins us now from the United Nations in New York. Very good afternoon to you, Sherwin. There are so many moving parts here. I mean, what has been some of the immediate reaction you are getting from your vantage point? And what does it say about the short to medium-term implications of this 10-month war that began after the Hamas attack on Israel last October, essentially?
Yeah, you framed that perfectly, Unati. Lots of moving parts, and these have been moving parts for the majority of the 10 months that Israel and Hamas have been engaged in this conflict in Gaza, right? And so we have additional moving parts right now. We've just had reaction from the Iranian mission to the United Nations. They've just put out a statement on X.com saying the response to the assassination, this of course is in reference to the assassination of Ismail Haniyeh in Tehran earlier today, the response to the assassination will in fact be a tougher special operation aimed at instilling deep regret in the perpetrator, right? Israel, of course, has not come out and confirmed or taken responsibility for the strike, but all arrows and indications are that Israel is responsible here. And that statement from the Iranian ambassador to the UN, echoing sentiments we heard earlier today from Iran's Supreme Leader Ali Khamenei, saying that the criminal and terrorist Zionist regime with this action has prepared the ground for a harsh punishment for itself, and we consider it our duty to avenge the blood of Ismail Haniyeh, who was martyred in the land of the Islamic Republic of Iran. The United Nations put out a statement late last night, Unati, responding to the confirmed Israeli strike on a Hezbollah commander in southern Beirut overnight. They said, we express our concern over the strikes by the IDF on the densely populated southern suburbs of Beirut on the evening of 30th of July, which resulted in scores of civilian casualties. As we await further clarity on the circumstances, we again urge the parties to exercise maximum restraint and call on all concerned to avoid further escalation. Essentially, the UN has has been echoing these sentiments in circumstances like the ones we are now dealing with. Tor Vennesland, who is the Secretary General's UN Special Coordinator for Middle East Peace, just tweeted, profoundly concerned by the recent developments in the Middle East. I am in contact with all the relevant parties to work towards diffusing tensions. The goal of these efforts are clear: regional de-escalation, including achieving a ceasefire and the release of all hostages in Gaza, and working towards lasting peace. And then we heard a statement from the White House National Security Council spokesperson overnight in reference again to the Hezbollah strike in Beirut, but I think it still warrants explanation and sharing given the developments we saw in Tehran today. Our commitment to Israel's security is ironclad and unwavering against all Iran-backed threats, including Lebanese Hezbollah. The attack by Lebanese Hezbollah this weekend, which of course killed those 12 children and teenagers in the Israeli-occupied Golan Heights, was horrific. Israel has the right, of course, to defend itself. And so we've heard that kind of sentiment from the United States, again echoed by the White House and, of course, by the U.S. Secretary of Defense, who was speaking in the Philippines earlier today, Unati.
And of course, all eyes on Iran, I would imagine. Now, Sherwin, while some analysts seem to back the U.S. position that an all-out war is not inevitable, Iran's supreme leader has vowed to avenge the blood of Haniyeh, which was spilled on its territory and in its capital, no less. Explain to us the significance of this response and essentially what might inform Iran's response here.
So in many ways, Unati, I think we've seen this movie before, right? And our immediate reference point will be the non-confirmed Israeli strikes on Iran's consulate in Syria in April, and the response we saw, some over 300 missiles and drones which were sent towards Israel, fired at Israel by Iran, and what you then saw in terms of a coalition of regional Arab countries, including Saudi Arabia, Jordan, and the United Arab Emirates, supported by the United States, France, many European countries, in terms of intercepting that barrage that we saw in response to the suspected Israeli strike on the consulate in Syria, which of course killed a number of senior leaders of Iran's Revolutionary Guard. One imagines a similar choreography to a possible Iranian response, but I think the broader point here that you're hearing from the Defense Secretary of the US and from analysts that say they do not see a necessary escalation here in terms of a wider conflict, simply put, because wars are expensive, and the response from Israel, were Iran to strike, could be catastrophic. And so we are really waiting to see how Iran responds here, given what we know to be true in terms of their response in April. Will we see something similar? We simply don't have that information yet, but Iran vowing to respond here. The question is, what will be the defensive posture of Israel, and will they be supported, as they were in April, by a coalition led by the United States, but also including a number of key Arab countries, including Saudi Arabia, Jordan, and the United Arab Emirates? Will we see a similar response here? Time will certainly tell.
Time indeed will tell, especially because there was no immediate comment from Israel, Sherwin. But thank you so much. Let's leave it there for now.